Hey guys, today what we're going to be doing is approximating the value of an irrational number. So as a reminder guys, irrational numbers are numbers that repeat, I take that back, numbers that are decimals that do not repeat. Usually today what we're going to be doing is looking at the square roots of non-perfect numbers, and that will give us an idea of that, okay? So before we begin that, what we are going to do and focus on is the square root of the perfect squares. This is the square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, so on and so forth. Square root of 16, square root of 25. Hopefully you guys noticed that square root of 1 is 1, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, so on and so forth. So we really want to focus on the ones between 1 and 12. So anytime, so it says use your work above to approximate the value of each expression using whole numbers, tenths, and hundredths. So essentially what we want to do is anytime I am given a square root, I want to figure out where does that lie in between with my perfect squares. So when I do that, I have this, like I said, the square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25, square root of 36, square root of 49. And you notice, hey look, the square root of 40 is in between these two numbers. So the square root of 36 is 6 and the square root of 49 is 7. Therefore, I know the square root of 40 is somewhere in between 6 and 7. So it says, well, what whole numbers is 8 plus radical 40 in between? So what we would do is we're going to basically get a range. I'm going to have 8 plus the smallest value that it could be, which is 6. And I'm going to take this 8 and add it to the largest number it could be, which is 7. So I know it's between 14 and 15. Okay. So that's the easiest of it. Now it needs to say, well, what numbers is it between? Going to the next closest decimal spot. So what do I mean by that? We need to figure out to one decimal place, what is it closest to? And on this one, we basically see, well, I see that 40 is closer to 36. So therefore, if I know it's between 6 and 7, I know that it needs to be closer to 6 than 7. So like 6.3, 6.4 would be my guess. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a calculator out. And if I just do 6.3 times 6.3, that's going to be 39.69. All right, so then if I do 6.4 to the second power, that is 40.96. And look at that, I guessed it on the first try. So it would be 6.3 is the closest number that it is to. And then if I want a range, it would be between 6.3 and 6.4 is the two numbers where it would lie in between. But it's a little closer to 6.3. So now what I would need to do is just guess for the nearest hundredths place. So for hundredths, we would continue the process. I know it's between 6.3 and 6.4. So if I just started at the middle at 6.35, and we'll go in each direction to see what it's closest to. So if I do 6.35 to the second power, that would be 40.32. So it's a little high. So let's go ahead and do 6.34 to the second power. All right, so 6.34 is 40.1956. All right, so let's go ahead and try 6.33 to the second power. That's even closer. Let's try it again. 6.32 to the second power. And that is my closest. So 6.32 and 6.33 is the range where it's in between. So I made one small mistake, which it's easy to fix. I just did radical 40. I forgot to add 8 to it. So all I'm going to do in purple is add 8 to both of these. This would be 14.3 and 14.4. This is 14.32 and 14.33. I just added 8 to all these values. So what I want you guys to realize is this radical 40 is in between 14 and 15. If I zoomed in more, it's in between 14.3 and 14.4. And if I zoomed in even more, it'd be in between 14.32 and 14.33. All right, so without using the square root button, calculate and determine which of these numbers is greater. Justify your reasoning. So I want to figure out what is bigger. Is it radical 75 minus 5 or radical 5 plus 3? Once again, you want to look at your perfect squares. Which perfect square is radical 75 in between? So if we look at these one more time, I'm going to write them out one more time, and then I'm just going to figure out without writing them down. We have radical 1, radical 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25, square root of 36, square root of 49, square root of 64, square root of 81, square root of 100, square root of 121, and the square root of 144. And guys, this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So like 6 times 6 is 36, 8 times 8 is 64, so on and so forth. So what we need to do is identify where does radical 75 fall in between. Radical 75 is in between radical 64 and radical 81. Therefore, this number is between 8 and 9. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the range. So if I did the low range of 8 and then minus 5, that would give me 3. I would also have 9 minus 5, which is the greater side, the biggest it could be, which is 4. Therefore, this number is somewhere in between 3 and 4. So now what I'm going to do is look at radical 5. Radical 5 falls right in between 2 and 3. So I know this number is between 2 and 3. If I took the low end, which is 2, this would be 2 plus 3, which is 5. If I took the higher end, which would be 3, that would be 3 plus 3, which is 6. So I know radical 5 plus 3 is somewhere in between 3 and 6, while radical 75 minus 5 is somewhere between 3 and 4. Therefore, in blue, this is the bigger value. All right, same idea here now, guys. Radical 5 is somewhere in between the square root of 4, which is 2, and the square root of 9, which is 3. So in blue, this is saying 12 minus 3 times, and my smaller value would be 2. That is 12 minus 6, which is 6. Now let's use in lighter blue the higher end. This would be 12 minus 3 times 3. So this would be 12 minus 6. 12 minus 9, which is 3. So I know 12 minus 3 radical 5 is somewhere in between 3 and 6. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at this. This is saying 2 times radical 6. Radical 6 is also in between 2 and 3. So we're going to have 3 plus 2 times 2. This would give me 3 plus 4, which is 7. And then on the larger end, which I'm going to do in red, 3 plus 2, and that radical is going to be radical 6 on the high end would be 3. So this would be 3 plus 6, which is 9. So this is the larger one because at the very smallest it could be by rounding, it would be 7, and the very largest side it would be 9. Whereas here, the largest side would be 3, and the smallest it could be is 6. Alright guys, hopefully this helped. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or your teacher.